Hi guys, my name is Tyler Beckley, and welcome to Barbells and Black Belts. This is episode 9 of the podcast, and today my guest, Nicole Potteiger, is a military veteran in the United States Army. She works for the VA office, Veterans Affairs office here in Findlay, Ohio, and she is also a professional powerlifter. Thank you guys for watching the show. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hi guys, welcome to episode 9 of the Barbells and Black Belts podcast. Today my guest is Nicole Potteiger. Nicole is a professional powerlifter. She works for the Veterans Affairs office. She is a veteran herself, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of topics like Nicole's journey, her experience in professional powerlifting, and talking about mental and physical empowerment, especially for veterans as well. So without further ado, I'm going to lead it right into my guest. Nicole, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on to the podcast. So Nicole, I'm just going to start it off. Tell us a little bit about, let's start first with your time in the military, what branch you were in and how long you were in on that.
Okay. Yeah. I actually served in the U.S. Army from 2010 to 2014. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky the entire time, but I did get to jump out of aircraft. I was a paratrooper the entire time. I had 62 jumps in my 4 years. So, so what got you into your military career? Let's start with that one too. Like, what was the first thing that kind of brought you into the military? Okay. So this is kind of an emotional one. I was asked this actually in my interview for my job. So after I graduated from high school, I went to college for radiology. I was at Owens. My brother was actually in the military. He was stationed over in Iraq. One night, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, we received a phone call. He was on a mission, and they encountered an IED, and his MRAP ran it over, and it exploded. Thankfully, he was the only one to survive. Thankfully for him, that's what I mean by that, but unfortunate for the other ones. Yeah. He was flown then to Germany, and then because he sustained some injuries, he ended up being medically retired. So at that point, that's when I knew he had some unfinished business, and that's when I went to the recruiter's office, and I signed on the dotted line and raised my right hand.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. And wow, that's, I mean, like you said, a very tragic story too. Yeah. But I mean, also that was what led you to that too, something that motivated you to kind of change career paths. Did you do anything with radiology, like when you went into the Army? Did that?
I was supposed to.
Okay.
You know, they always say, like, the recruiters will get you. They sure got me, because that's why I told them, I'm like, I went to college for radiology. Like, I like to keep that path. And they were like, oh, there's an opening. I went to AIT. AIT is like where you do your actual job training. Like, you have basic training, then you go on to your job training. And I was like, I got there and I'm like, this is not radiology. It was chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear specialist. So
somebody that checked the box. Close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
Wow. So I guess my next question, just to kind of segue into some of the other topics that we're going to talk about too, and talk about some of your powerlifting too. Was that also when you found powerlifting too, through the military, or when was that?
Actually, no. I did like lifting and everything in the military, but nothing like heavy or anything like that. I actually found powerlifting when I was doing Zumba. So backtrack, I used to weigh a lot, so I went to Zumba up the road, Power Up, and started doing that. And I had a friend there who just said, you have the body anatomy to powerlift. Have you ever thought about doing it? And then I found a coach, and I started doing it. And
that's awesome.
Here we are now. So.
Yeah. So I guess I was telling you some of the question prompts too that I have for you. So some interesting dialogue on how these kind of things bring up. But it says, take us back to your first time that you stepped under a barbell. What was that moment like for you when you kind of first, maybe not the very first time, but when you figured out like, yeah, this is for me. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably my first meet. I stepped for my first squat. I was nervous, but I just knew, like, I love this. Like, there's camaraderie, like all the other people competing, just cheering everybody on, and then all the other coaches in the atmosphere just helping, and all hands on deck type of situation. So
just to, again, talk about some of the things that we brought you on the show to not only talk about from the veteran side of things, but on your professional powerlifting side. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, when did you turn professional? How does someone turn professional in powerlifting too? I'm not even sure if I know that. Like, okay. Direct question.
They're still even trying to figure out how to figure out elite and pro and everything.
I understand.
Most of the time they would say 500 dots. 500 dots is a equation that powerlifting uses with your gender, your weight, and then the amount of weight you lifted. Mm-hmm. So obviously, the more weight you lift, and if you weigh lighter, you're going to have a higher dots. But they usually say about 500 dots, and that happened for me in 2023, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good experience because I was trying to qualify for American Pro too. Okay. And because you had to have that dots to be able to compete in it, and that's like one of the biggest meets that powerlifting puts on. So
that I got it. So that's your qualifying score for that. Now, do they have that type of thing based on like age range or anything like that too, like we have in jiu-jitsu?
Actually, they do. So not all meets will go off of like the dots. They'll actually go off of qualifying totals with like age brackets, like masters and like sub-masters and stuff like that, or even teens, juniors. They have those types of things for different types of bigger meets too, like nationals. There's so many different federations, and they all have different standards that they go by. So
I know I didn't put this one on there, but it was a question that I have, like, because of, when I came into owning Finley Barbell, like, I'd been around some of the powerlifting circuits too, but learning a little bit more about it, especially like the federation type thing. It feels like there wasn't one that really, really stepped up as the big governing body. So there was like a lot of kind of smaller ones that were still kind of jockeying for being the big dog, so to speak. Am I kind of nailing that? Or
yes, you are. Yep, you are. I mean, the biggest one I would say probably is the IPA. Mm-hmm. So that's the one you can see at the Arnold, Sheffield, all the big ones. So that's the biggest one. And then you just have the little tiny meets too, but
it's kind of like that in jiu-jitsu as well, like where the IBJJF is like the big ones too. Like you have regional tournaments and like smaller, more community tournaments. That's kind of like what we have in with the Midwest Classic, the one we have here in Findlay, all the way to like something like what you guys would do, like work with the university club too. You know, like we had the small meets. So we have all the way there where maybe these are community events and stuff, all the way up to, in our case, it's like, usually everybody in the gi cares about worlds with IBJJF. And so if you're a world champion, you're either winning IBJJF worlds or ADCC in the no-gi, things like that to be called a world champion. But I see a bunch of people like, I have this record and I have this record and I have this record, and it's a different thing and a different thing. There's like a lot of, in craft beer, they do this thing where they make their own classes, like Anheuser-Busch, and they're like, we won the Gold Cup this year. And like they create like their own little, like, that's how Bud Light came about, by the way. Okay. Not to get off track from what we're here for.
That's funny. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but it sounds like kind of that same thing where there wasn't like one big dog. Is that, I mean, what's the big one in Australia that I hear about every year? What is that one called? It's like the one where everybody does like, it's all based on those like dot scores with weight. It's Kappa or.
You're through me for a loop. No, that's one that I don't even know. Then
I will find that one out and talk to you on that too. But I guess, what is, in your opinion, what's like the big one that you would go to, like nationals, like American Nationals, which is the one you were talking about?
I do a lot of PLU meets. They're actually so. Not to get into like the powerlifting drama, because things happen with all the federations, but PLU is Powerlifting United. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be a really popular one that I like to do a lot. A lot of our clients, like on the team and everything, they seem to do that meet. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to jump around too much too. I did want to get back to like even that first question I asked you too about, you know, your first experience with it, because these are some of the things that when we were talking pre-show, some of my goals of the show, like some of the things that if I have a listener that might be listening for the first time, or one of your friends, or just someone that, you know, follows you, anything else that might draw them into, like, you know, you're wearing your veteran shirt, might bring them into the community and stuff. Like a lot of things resonate with how it got you going, you know. It's like starting at the base. Like, so I guess what was your first exposure to powerlifting, and what was the big thing that drew you in to powerlifting?
I was really good at it from the start. So
that's
always a good thing.
So from the Zumba class, like you picked up a bar and just technically you just like, all right, okay,
I'm pretty good at this.
You can put more weight on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I was like, well, I'm already good at it, so why don't I just try and be better?
Yeah.
And try and be one of the best in the world. So that was like my mentality behind it. That
was John Bowman, which if you've talked to him, he's one of the friendly barbell guys. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. John kind of even said it exactly like that. He was like, hey, I was doing hurdling and stuff, and then I started throwing, and I was pretty good at it. And I was like, well, I'm not very good right now, but I'm still throwing good numbers, you know? Yeah. He's like, what if I was good at it, and then what kind of numbers could I throw? And so he's like, I just started trying to be good at throwing. And so, like, it seems like a very similar type, you know, path that you guys like, which I'm guessing right away, like I've even seen this, like first meeting you and stuff too, like right away you just figure like some of the moves make more sense to you, or like we said before, like, hey, you could do some more weight, like whoever you were lifting with or something. They're like, okay, they're looking at you like, and then plus if people already have been in the gym a little bit too and seeing the standards of, you know, normal people that, you know, weigh this much, or a female in general too. Like Nicole's like, not to brag on the numbers or anything, but I don't know, what was your last meet? What'd you squat?
I squatted 490.
490 in your last one, and go ahead.
I benched 303, and then I deadlifted 513.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So, hell yeah. So hearing those numbers, you know, and I think the first time I saw you, I think you had like 365 on your back, and you did a one breath, like just rip 3 reps, and then just like walked it back in, like, you know, business, you know. I was like, dang. And I think I even mentioned about how some of our like university athletes, when you'd see them get that bar off the rack, because you were walking out that day, you weren't in the mono, and or maybe you were in the mono. I think you just walked it out because you were by yourself lifting. And long story short, I was like, yeah, sometimes you see kids get the bar off the rack, and you know, you get that kind of, I would always call it Elvis legs, you know, like he used to dance, and you're like, homeboy ain't even stable here, and like Nicole just like step, take her breath, you know, tighten the core, and it was like very business-like, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'm guessing you figured out real quick that like, all right, okay, I got this, you know. And
it took time.
It still does too. And as like as I kind of guide some of the university kids, like the powerlifting too, I kind of keep telling them the same thing, like. You get better at it, and you'll keep getting better at it. And if you don't stop getting better at it, then there's a problem, you know, because I'm guessing you're always tinkering with your squat a little bit, or you're always tinkering with your bench a little bit, because you're trying to optimize everything.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to optimize, you know, your training methods, or implementing new ones, or, you know, I'm a very big, like, tried and true kind of guy, so I like the repetition pattern type stuff. But, you know, it's the same thing as like jiu-jitsu it is with your powerlifting, you know. Yep. Like you're never going to be technically great. Like or perfect.
There's always
I guess
something better to
There's
get.
Always something
better
to
get
yep.
better at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like even guys that I always use an example of, like Tiger Woods is one of my favorite, because like people when we were like younger, I guess my friends, they were like, Tiger Woods has a swing coach, and I'm like, of course he has a swing coach. Like why? Like they're like, he's like the best in the world. Like as in. He wouldn't have a swing coach. I'm like, well, he needs somebody to tell him if he's doing something wrong, or to keep him like, this is what we need to be doing, you know, to keep at it as well, to stay the best in the world too. So, Tiger Woods had one of the best swing coaches in the world, actually. The guy kind of like, you know, bumped around a little bit with different clients and everything else. And after they'd worked with all of them, and you're just like, well, that's the reason why, like that guy's a pretty good golfer himself, but you know, he was never number one in the world. But you know, for anybody to think that they've You know, it's the death of your craft, basically. If you've got it all figured out, and it's no different, obviously, in powerlifting. So,
No, not at all.
I guess my next one, topic-wise too. How about early struggles, like some of the things that you had in the sport of powerlifting that kind of roadblocks for you that you've had?
Imposter syndrome. That's a big one. So my first professional meet, showed up with all these other people that have been so-called professional for years, and I was nervous. I didn't feel like I should be there. I was confused why I was there, thought about leaving, but it's still something that I promise you'll hold that to every meet you ever go to, is imposter syndrome.
I love that answer in a way, not that you have that at all, but I think many people struggle with those types of things. So hearing someone who's successful in their given field, or sports, academics, anything else, I've heard from multiple people that it's exactly what that is. It's very, do you know the band Rush?
Yeah.
They have the song called Limelight. And so like he talks about it in the song, like that would be weird for you not to have a little bit of like trying to pull yourself back, like, holy crap, you know, look at this. Like he's saying in the song of like, it should feel weird to step out of on a stage of 50,000 people and feel very, like, that's normal. That's being a normal human, But I think some people, they have to really tell themselves, like, yes, you have to talk, whether that's self-talk or anything else too. Like, I'm not sure how do you try to beat that for someone that maybe has that too? Because you compete, you keep doing it.
Yep.
So
I tell myself I deserve to be there.
Yeah, man.
And then I step on that platform and give it my all.
You just do it.
Yep.
So that's right.
Yep. So the other thing is nerves. You're always, at least for me, I'm always nervous after that first squat. As long as I get on the board, we're good. Then it's just fun the rest of the
nerves
time.
go down. Yeah. I've told that to a few of my students where like I'm always, especially in like IBJJF tournaments, like the first match, if you lose your first match, bro, you're done. So it's a one and done. So I'm always like nervous about that first match. And then it seemed like I'd always settle down after the first one too. Especially just getting that first competition jitters out, I guess. But it's something that never goes away is what I tell people. It's that you manage it better. Like it's going to be there. Because in my estimation, I've always had the Mike Tyson philosophy where he's like, if you care about it, then you're going to be nervous. Like, they're like, oh, you scared? He was like, yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared of losing. He's like, that guy wants what I want. Is that W, or you're afraid of putting in all that work and coming up short? And you should be, because you put all that effort into it too. It doesn't mean we don't do it. It just means that you might be a little nervous about it, And so I tell my jiu-jitsu students, it's like, if you go do it and you go do it and you go do it, it might be a little better each time. You might learn a little bit better tools each time to kind of manage it. At least, how many meets have you done, by the way?
I have done 11 meets.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, like my first pro meet, I was terrified. It was actually my first meet. I had Brad as my coach as well. Almost bombed out on squats. And that's the most nervous thing ever, is not getting your first squat, then going back up to get your second one and not getting it then, and now you're just terrified. And the nerves I had that day and how sick to my stomach I was, I never want that for anybody. So
we make jokes at jiu-jitsu tournaments that it's like they better have enough bathrooms, basically, because it's like, and it's not just like white belts, new people. I mean, it's like veterans too. Like I've been in locker rooms, especially for, probably the worst was amateur MMA. I'm just going to say it, like dudes just like walking around, just like pacing the floors like rabid dogs and stuff. And when you get on, then you start getting on pro-am cards and you see some of these guys that are just like, bro, chill. Like you're not fighting for 4 hours. You know what I mean? So, because they've been through that circus a couple of times, and you just kind of learn how to, calm down. And it's like we always thought about it as fighting two fights. Like, you got to fight tonight. Why are you fighting right now? Because that emotion, it just sucks you, and your nervous system takes a hit, and you're going to need that, especially in powerlifting. Right? You're going to need all those too, So I have this kind of working theory around competition in general that sometimes it's the people that learn how to manage that sometimes is the best too, because we all know that like performance anxiety is an absolute thing. You get guys that, inside the training room or inside the practice field, whatever the sport may be, they perform excellent, but they have trouble rising to the occasion. So, obviously we always talk about, it's competition's 90% mental or whatever the quote is or something, but it's learning how to deal with it, learning how to manage it. And if we had they keep writing books about it. I joked with our former coach at the university, and I was like, they keep writing self-help books because none of them have the right answer.
Yeah.
Because the answer's
everybody's wired differently.
Exactly.
So.
And some things that work for you might not work for other people. In my opinion, have you ever heard me tell the kids about hitting curveballs?
No.
I say how you get better at hitting curveballs. You got to go hit curveballs. And so, like you said, you might be better in your 12th meet and your 13th meet, you know what I mean? Because you just become more seasoned and learn how to deal with, and setbacks and stuff too. I'm sure you do the same thing as like when I had MMA fights or jiu-jitsu tournaments or whatever, there's always something that goes wrong, or you always miss a turn, or, we've had some problems before in like different fights, like where things that are outside your control, or the amount of time that you have to wait. I'm guessing for you guys is probably pretty bad, like in between your lifts, basically.
Depends on how big the meet is, yeah.
Yeah, like and is completely outside your control. Maybe sometimes it's short, and sometimes it's like.
And you might train differently than how the day is gonna go. Like I'm a very quick, do my next set, my next set. So if it's a long day at a powerlifting meet, a lot of lifters, I'm not used to waiting 20 minutes to go squat again, or
so inside some of those meets too. What's about the average amount of time that it's going to take you to get through all three of your big lifts too?
All three of them. Like I said, it's going to depend on how big it is, but most of the time it's probably going to be 4 to 6 hour day.
That's so much. Like you almost have to master how to like take it down, because your nervous system is you can only ride so many roller coasters.
Crash.
Yeah, exactly. To where that bar ain't going up no matter what after your nervous system decides to shut down. Yep. So that was just when we do like little community days, like, obviously we're getting it done a little bit quicker than that too. Yeah. And just a hit, like doing that to your nervous system, like, it's a lot, I mean, I need some gummy bears and a nap. I noticed in like my next one was talking about gym culture too, but in powerlifting culture, I noticed that one. That's the snacks. Snacks are
Sour Patch Kids.
Exactly. That was my favorite. But, I noticed that as a huge thing, like in the powerlifting, because you're going to be there a while, and I'm guessing you weigh in already in the morning, and then it's over with, and then you're on with your day.
Yep.
Got it. So gummy bears, let's go. Sour Patch Kids.
I'm a Rice Krispie girl, but that's all right.
Yeah. What are some of the things you like to eat? Like during I'm guessing they're very similar to some of the things like jiu-jitsu people, because it's like little candy snacks and stuff usually make people feel good. You digest it, you get through, you burn those sugars quick. But what are your other things? What do you like to eat there?
I am I forget the word.
That's okay.
Structured. I guess.
Regimented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every meet. I always take a Subway sandwich, make sure it has mustard and pickles on it, cut it in 3s, and then I'll have my Rice Krispies, banana, and then my dark chocolate for my deadlifts. You'll have your energy drinks too, but
sure. That's
my day.
You even said 3 pieces. I want it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
After squat, after bench, and then I have food after my deadlifts. So.
I made the really bad when I was fighting professionally, like weight cutting was part of the battle basically, and so I would usually fight at 185. So I would weigh 220 or so. I'd diet down 205, 203 if I could get there, and then I'd water cut from there to make 185. And so after you cut 15 to 17 pounds of water, you're pretty sucked, and we could weigh in the night before basically, but there's that process of getting that back into your system. I usually fruit, a little bit of water, Pedialyte, and then actually like a protein drink too. Like your absorption of water is a lot better in the presence of protein. And we made the mistake one time of going out to eat afterwards, and I was eating like Cheddar Bay biscuits and stuff, and I was like, I think I fought the next night. I weighed like 193 or something. Like I couldn't hardly put the weight back on because my body's like, bro, what are you doing? Like you ain't ate Cheddar Bay biscuits in 6 months. What are you doing here? And so, like you said, being that regimen and like giving your body what it specifically, like I'm used to this, and this. Yep. And it's like everybody reacts a lot differently to, every single food. Obviously you want to try to follow the science as much as you can or get carbs, proteins, like good fats and stuff. But it sounds like just about the same thing. I mean, I'm like, I'll eat breads and stuff like that and be completely fine. Some people have asked me like, you eat bread like in the middle of the tournaments and stuff? I'm like, well, it's a timing thing. So if I know I'm going to have a little bit of room of time, but I'm not eating like, a loaf of bread, Jesus, like sandwich stuff. It's like what I eat regularly too, I eat breads. Like I'm a big like PBJ guy, like just for snacks. Yeah, man. That's, it's the highest volume of food. Every year they do like studies with the NFL and they survey players, everybody's like staff members, and they grade like teams on each individual thing. And they have like metrics of things, and the most requested across all 32 teams of one single food item, you nailed it, Uncrustables.
I love
so
them,
it's like you grow up and it's like think like every like pro athlete, they're eating nothing but dry chicken breast and broccoli and fruit, and they're just like PBJ mowing out basically. I think it was the first time when I heard Michael Phelps, that one really. You remember when he was like going through his first big Olympic run, and he's eating like 10K of calories or something. He's like, yeah, my mom makes me fried egg sandwiches, and I'm like, what? I'm like, then you see his like pool workouts are like, usually 2.5 hours long. He's doing 2 to 3 of them a day. He's doing the strength and conditioning, all of the above. You're like, oh, okay, that's the difference, in terms of the the calories in general. Yeah. So my next question, just to kind of get back into the military side of things as well. How did you feel your military background? How did that shape things in powerlifting too? How do you think like things that's really helped you? Obviously, the regimented side of things probably. Like,
yes, definitely.
Not the answer for you, but yeah.
No, you're fine.
Talk to us here.
Definitely gave me structure. So in the military, you wake up, go do PT, then you go shower, and then you have chow, and then you start your day, and then close of business is 5 o'clock. Same thing every day during the week. So I became, over 4 years, I've just become a very regimen person. So I train on the exact same day, usually around the exact same time. So it's just given me my structure in life, basically. Also, I'm just in the military, they are very, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's just kind of built how I am as a person. That's still like structure, but
sure. Instilling values.
Yeah.
I think the general would kind of,
Yes.
might finish that with too.
Yeah.
Like some of the values and how you hold yourself and stuff. I noticed it out of you just as I've talked to you and had conversations in the gym, and totally see your, like, I mean, I see Nicole in there probably, I'd say just about the most of any member, I mean, we go to show with your name on the board a whole couple times, and, the kind of numbers that you put up too. It's like you don't hit high numbers without training and training and training and training. So I think one of the big things from the military that I've seen, I never was in the military or anything like that. We do a lot of cross promotional stuff, try to help military foundations. It seems to be a very hand-in-hand thing these days with jiu-jitsu and the military as well. But I think the thing that I've seen the most out of it is some of the characteristics that I've gotten from playing professional football or being on a professional fighting team is the camaraderie. That's one of the big ones that I always see, that military people seem to be attracted to other communities that have camaraderie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, so if that's, sounds like it's probably something like you talked about earlier, like when you got to that meet and you saw how it was, that really locked you into that. You're like, okay, that's some of the things that you value, some of the values that, like I said, that the military is instilling. So, I mean, the big thing also that the general would talk about, hopefully you did instill in the military, was mental toughness too. I know that's not every single person, but it seems like with you, because I know how hard the training is for powerlifting, you know, and it's, I've had a lot of weight on my back, and I tell people like it hurts sometimes, and it's like you see some of your numbers on your paper, and you're just like, shit, okay, you know what I mean? And you still step up to the plate, and you still got to do it, and you still do it, and you still do it, and so that takes mental toughness. And like I said, the general would say, hopefully that's what the military instilled in every single, because that's going to serve you well in life, basically.
Absolutely.
So, not to answer your own question, but you know what I mean? Just it's some of the things that I've really like kind of seen, and hopefully just to segue into my next part too. And this is talking about powerlifting and veterans as well. I'm guessing not to answer the question, but why do you think that powerlifting would be important for veterans to get into?
Mental health. That's the biggest one. That's the biggest struggle with veterans right now. A lot of people don't seek help when they should. I wish I knew why. I mean, when I have my clients at work, they'll tell me why, but the whole actual as in general, why they won't and stuff. But if they can find something that they love and it helps them mentally, then they should just go after it. And if being in the gym is what makes you feel better, then why just use that as your therapy, so to speak. But
sure. I think we probably share the same as if you were to get inside of a community, and I think that's the biggest one, that then you're going to feel probably more keen to, all right, I'll tell Nicole about my problem. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel comfortable with them. They feel like, well, I just use this word. I know it gets thrown around politically, but like if you have a gym that's a safe space, or a jiu-jitsu academy that becomes a safe space. And I hate how everything gets politicized by not having any context. It sounds like, oh, they got their safe spaces or something. I'm like, dude, we're talking about people that might kill themselves. It's like, and they're all, complaining about terminologies and stuff. Like, I want that veteran that might, be thinking about something like that, or just feeling like they're just isolated, or feeling like they can't talk to somebody because they obviously want to, you know what I mean? Or not saying that everybody, that's a veteran is all, messed up in the head, because that's also a very bad trope that that you're seeing nowadays too. Like, oh, this guy did a tour of Iraq. It's like,
so he must be
exactly, he's damaged or something. Like, bro, like maybe it's like you've taken damaged is such a bad word too, because it's like then they almost feel like something wrong with you or something. It's like maybe there is, but it's like when you're sick, you could go to the doctor, you can go talk to somebody. It's like that stigma around still.
That's the word I was looking for. Is stigma. There's a lot of stigma around veterans.
The general, he talked about that one a lot, and I mean, of course, you could probably hear his words on that too. He's like, this is ignorant. This is stupid. Go talk to somebody, call somebody if it's the difference in regaining your life back or something. So, I think we share the same opinion, whether it's jiu-jitsu or whether it's powerlifting or play, we do the Guitar for Vets thing, the charity thing in there. If it's playing guitar, if it's something that gives you joy, and it gets them back in. Even though with the guitar thing, I think that's nice, but I want them to take another step. Go find a band, you know what I mean? Go find another guy who plays guitar, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that community thing is as much as I believe that powerlifting itself is therapeutic, because you can go get under the bar, you can burn it out of you, you know what I'm saying? You can release a lot of anxiety and things, but I think more of the benefit would come from go do a competition, come talk to Nicole at the, at Finley Barbell. She'll
Even
tell
if
you.
I look unapproachable, I promise I'll talk to you.
She's very approachable. So I want them to do that instead, because I think that's where the real benefit then comes in. Do the lifting too, but also the community aspect on top of that. And then I firmly believe in, I guess we're getting out into the psychology of things a little bit. And then my next thing is talking about empowerment and stuff and using those things. But I think competition in general is good for just our spirit. It's something that it gets you out of bed. It gets you in bed too. You know what I mean? Hey, I gotta compete. I gotta get my sleep. That's the most important thing. I gotta get my water. I gotta get my protein. You know what I'm saying? It keeps us regimented, and it's something that's one, we have better health. we feel better about ourselves. I mean, not only the mental. Yes, exactly. There's so many other like benefits to it, obviously. But that's I guess my next prompt for you. I'll let you talk about this one. It says powerlifting isn't just about moving weight. It changes how people carry themselves. In your experience, what kind of confidence shift did you see from powerlifting?
A big one, and it actually carried over into my work. You can even ask everybody in my office. They've noticed it over the last year or two. I've just become more comfortable. Like, I would never have done this like 2 or 3 years ago. Come on a podcast. My boss is going to be really proud.
Yeah.
But it just got me out of my comfort zone. Like, if I can do that, you can do anything. Like, it's that simple. My confidence in meets has gotten better. I mean, I'm still nervous and everything. Yeah. The last meet I just did, it was a small local meet. It wasn't a pro one or anything like that. But I really needed it because I was tired of stepping on the big stages, being so nervous. I needed to fall back in love with powerlifting. And that meet definitely did it for me. I felt bad because usually the local meets are for beginners and everything. Everybody can do them, but I try to stay away from them just because I want the newer people to be excited about winning and stuff like that and not take it away from them and things like that. But it actually just felt really good because so many people just came up to me and they're like, "You're so strong and I want to be like you," and stuff like that. And it's just a really good feeling, and just letting them know, like, just keep doing it and you can grow and be where I am, I guess, so to speak.
The weirdest thing, and maybe this is drawn back to your imposter syndrome type thing too. One of the weirdest things for me when I was like getting into fighting, this moment, it's a weird story. Like, I'm not sure if I told this on the podcast, but it was a dude after a fight. He was like, "Hey man, will you take a picture with my girlfriend?" And I was like what? And I was like, "Hi ma'am," and took a picture with him. Like, I won a fight that night, by the way. Yeah. And I was like, well, someone with that, especially with his girlfriend, like, I had that moment of stuff. And I was like, so you kind of see yourself outside of there. So like you said, you might not like people coming up and be like, "I just want to be like you," something like that, where you start learning not to completely see outside yourself, because I think there's a problem with that one too. But you're just like, I do inspire people, I guess. That's what I said. Mine was more of a comical story, and yours was more heartfelt, in that way. But when you start competing and you start doing it, like me personally, I think the best thing for, like, say, if you want to get females into powerlifting, is for Nicole to go powerlift. You see what I mean? It's like, because then they see you, and they see you doing these things, and they see you achieving these things. And so I always tell my other jiu-jitsu instructors, like, you want to compete, you got to go compete too. Because not only I think it's super important for us personally, but that's also how we, motivate other people as well, by leading by example. I mean, that's basically what it is too.
It's how you get better too.
Yeah. So. And I think a lot of this, that's especially, like, great. You said the women in your office and stuff too have seen the change in you too. It's like, I don't know, tell them come powerlift. You know what I mean? Like, come on in, or something. Or just something like they saw you going. Maybe it's not powerlifting, or like mine's obviously jiu-jitsu, and I love powerlifting too. I've been around that, but it's never been like my thing. I think it should be whatever the thing is that drives you, as long as it's a positive, as long as it's a net positive for their life, and it checks those boxes of community, or, like I said, hopefully getting them to sleep, eating good. Like, I'm super biased to athletics and stuff for those reasons too, because I think it gives us so many other benefits to our life too. Like you said, building confidence, building just self-esteem in general. Like, I think lifting weights is some of the easiest thing we could possibly do to increase confidence, like especially in kids and stuff too, because, like, I mean, you've seen, like, our kids' class in here. Like, we don't care if you do it wrong. Like, we really don't. Like, maybe if you try it, like, the same way, like, 9 times and keep getting it wrong, I'll be like, come on, dude, you got to do something different. But if they keep trying, they learn that they're allowed to. And, like, lifting's the same way. It's like, it's so easy to, like, score wins because if you're regimented and you go do it and you put in the time and you go, you know what I'm saying? Even if you follow a little bit of science, like you're probably going to get stronger, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those kind of like feedback loops of lifting. Like you said, you got into it because you figured out like, hey, I'm kind of good at this. And that felt pretty good, you know? And like, well, what else you got on the, like, I bet if you put that on, I'll lift it too. And then, okay, these are my numbers today. And then I bet if you look back at your training journal 3 years ago, probably a bit different.
Yeah, I have all of them. So.
And it's like, you look back on those sometimes, I think that's important. My friend Todd, that I told you was an Olympian, he still has a lot of his logs from like when he was in his run. Like he was a consummate log keeper. And so he always knew where he was. Like, he's like, I know what my pace is. I know what this is. Like, he always had like a reference. And he's like, there's no lying. There's no lying to yourself. You know what I mean? You know right where you are right now. Like that's especially in a sport like powerlifting. It's very objectively like, this is where Nicole's at today, you know? So it's probably really fun to go back and see like, well, that's where Nicole was 3 years ago. And that's a big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. And everybody makes fun of me for doing logs because I get my programming through Google Sheets. So it's already in there, but I still sit there and write it down because that Google Sheets isn't going to be there forever. My little notebook will, and I want to be able to know, like, I did this in 2020, and now I'm here in 2025.
I do a combination. I like doing a little bit of both because I'm an old school like strength coach guy where I like my clipboard and stuff. So if you see me working with the kids, I'm always like clipboard stuff because I like to make little notes and everything. But like, obviously, like if you can just run all your numbers on a Google sheet or something, it's pretty easy. Or when I had like at the university, when I have a whole team, it's like I'd have like a pull down of all the names and everything else. And so things auto-populate a lot easier, you know, but it's like I'm very much like the same way. I think like pen to paper, they say it's like a psychological thing too. It's like actually writing it down is a difference like in your brain. I'd talk to Kyle a little bit on the psychology there, but I'm more like the same way as you are. Like I like to write down things basically, but that's I guess my next one. I wanted to kind of shift back again to like talking about the veterans as well, and this goes right off of what we were saying with like building confidence in sports and building confidence with powerlifting and lifting weights. Like, how do you think it says the prompt is? Have you seen powerlifting build community for people and who might otherwise feel isolated? And could you think this would be beneficial to veterans?
I mean, we have a fantastic community at Findlay Barbell with powerlifting, which is amazing because powerlifting is already such a niche sport. It's small. So there isn't really a big community for it. So when you guys went ahead and brought in the University Powerlifting Club, it was an amazing addition to the gym and just for the community because I'm seeing all these young kids. They're so excited and they're hitting PRs every day, and I don't know, it's good because it's not just for your mental, it's also emotional too, and obviously your physical well-being. I've seen so many of the University of Powerlifting students change, like their bodies have changed since they've been stepped foot into the gym and stuff. So
I talked a little bit about our mutual friend Taylor. That's she's our director of our powerlifting club too. And just I'm not sure if I ever even mentioned it on the podcast before too. But what Nicole and I kind of referred to earlier was the University of Findlay. We have a powerlifting club, and the sport is open to any of the university, or the club is open to any of the university students. And we have a director for it, and they have 2 officers. And the kids come in, they write programming for them. They've been holding a meet. They held at the end of the semester last year. We're getting them involved with some charity work too, which I was talking to them about that. Hopefully with something with the Veterans Office actually was our chosen one there too. So not only to tie this all together, you know, but it's something where we believe in the same thing we were just talking about, where if you get a kid that, you send them off to college, like I put the kids when I had a meeting with them, their directors and stuff, of like, imagine from a parent's perspective, you send a kid to college or something, and they're playing a varsity sport. Well, they're probably really taken care of, because I had a coach that, because I didn't go to class, this is a true story, by the way, is I was taken care of by my varsity sport. I didn't go to class, so my teachers called my football coach, and I got in trouble. And Jamie Schmitty, he was the assistant running backs coach. He came in and knocked on my door at 5:30 every day for 2 weeks and made me go run sprints out on the field at 5:30 in the morning. I was taken care of, you know what I mean? Like, they were making sure Tyler was going to go to class. Like, I played varsity football. But now I'm thinking, like, you take your kid to a college off campus, or like outside the city or whatever, a little bit away, and they're not part of a varsity sport, and they're not part of a club, and they're not part of an organization. Like, my mom was like, oh yeah, football coaches are going to make sure this guy, but I see it as a way of, like, that person now has a secondary kind of place. You know what I mean?
Like you said, safe place.
Exactly. So it's something that I want them to feel good about. Well, a couple of them already did. They were, like, really excited to get back to the gym. I'm like, hey, good to see you again too, Gave them a fist bump and answer any questions they might have or something. Like, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but just I like seeing them in the gym and like seeing them work and getting better, because if they're on the path in powerlifting too, 'cause I'm guessing they're not out boozing all the time and everything else too, like that we might have done in college sometimes, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
but they have a goal.
Exactly.
Goals. So.
But it's another thing that kind of, again, that ties them into a good community too, and that's one of the big ones. I've met with the other athletic director at the University of Findlay, Brandy Larita, and that was her first answer when I said, what do you guys want to see out of these clubs? Because we have the jiu-jitsu club and we have the powerlifting club too. And she's like, they need good experiences. These kids, like when we talk about getting them into a community, that's what a parent wants when they send their, they want to get good grades and stuff too, but they want to know that their kid's doing good and that they're feeling good about their, their experience in their life, and they're around positive role models.
I was just
That's
gonna
another
say
one too.
positivity and not stuck in their dorm room or their
and feeling
apartment.
Exactly like what we're saying about the veterans or something too. It's a different situation, obviously, but it's the same kind of thing, though. Like, that's when depression and isolation just, like, they kind of take root, and then they find something that might not be so positive, something like, I don't know, sitting in the room just playing video games all the time or watching Netflix or just waste, what I'm saying, whatever device is. But, I'd rather them, like, hey, get with a group that is, like, they're out there lifting, which we've already shown, like, hey, that's going to have physical and mental benefits from doing it, and then again, feeling like they're part of something too. So we haven't really talked about it too much, but that seems to be, like, powerlifting wise, what I see the most, like when you guys post on social media, every time that there's a meet, something like that. I mean, seems the same thing as jiu-jitsu tournaments. You get together, you see your friends, probably see a bunch of people that they're not like in your inner friend circle, but you're like, hey, what's up, Steve?
Hey,
you're at the next meet too. It's like you have extended friends and extended communities too. So, I mean, after you do a couple dozen yourself, and I'm guessing you've came to a bunch more as like a coach and everything else too. You see some of these same people, and then now, like my friend that you were asking up there, Ben, like people know Ben from all over the place too, and you know what I'm saying, and he's locked in there, and then. You even see some of the nice things that I like to see is some of our kids, like, hanging out outside of, like, you might have seen them come in with powerlifting, but now they found another friend and they're hanging out and doing whatever. Like, go on.
I love watching when I'm going to meets and seeing either my clients or other teammates talking to other people, like other coaches and stuff like that. Like, building those connections. Connections are so important in powerlifting to me. Like, having relationships with your team members, obviously friendship-wise, and just understanding more depth to the powerlifting. It's not just about being on the platform. There's other roles you can take on. You can handle somebody for the day. You can spot and load. It's terrible, but it's needed. It's the one thing that nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to take heavy weight off and put it back on a bar all day long, but just it's giving back to the sport.
I think that's a good way of putting it too, because that was what I was going to get to next when I talked to the university club, and their directors, and so just Taylor and Tyson and Kylan were in there, and some of the main objectives, like, okay, what are we trying to do with the club? And I don't like to write everything for it because it's their club, and I just kind of help like mentor them on this. And I said, what would you like to do? Like, and I gave them a couple of examples, and I was like, how about furthering the sport of powerlifting? Like, because they want to see it practice more people involved, more opportunities for people who want to do it too. And if that's what you want to do, like, you basically think of all of your activities, like all of your goals go towards that mission. Okay, with this further powerlifting, you know what I'm saying? Or within their club too, like, I'd say the sub goal for that is for the kids to have a good experience too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and if we can find ways to do all that, you know, all together, because, you know, if you're there was no University of Findlay Powerlifting Club, so they've already furthered the sport of powerlifting that way. And then so if you get a few more connections, or they deal with BG. BG has a club powerlifting now too. So that's, you know what I'm saying? Now it's growing within your region too.
Yep.
That's how it kind of starts off, like a little bit more grassroots, I guess. But all in all, I told them, if you're giving the kids another good spot and it's positive, and you know what I mean, and they're gaining benefit and they're gaining, you know, not only joy out of it too, but where we can almost measure and sit there and talk about, like, okay, they got this much stronger and everything else too, but we both know it was like all the workouts that they did and all the times they had to get there. That was where the real benefit was. Like, sure, you can look at the numbers going up too, but, you know, as we've talked about now for 45 minutes, like, you've gotten so much more out of it than, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, that 300, that looks pretty cool up on the board, but but Nicole wrote, would you put, like, I did that.
I did that.
Amy loves that, by the way, and I wanted to mention this on the podcast, but Amy loves that because it means that you're not competing against other people, you're competing against you. Like, that little kind of joke there, like, I did that. Like, you were proud because it's like, look what, now it doesn't matter what anybody else does, and if someone was like, you know, the record isn't that, you'd like, dude,
it's my record.
It's your record, exactly.
So.
And that's Amy, really liked that, and I said I'm going to mention that on the podcast too. So, getting into some of the other work that you guys do too. One of the props on this one, it says, in your role at the VA. So this is just, again, getting back to some of your job and some of the things that you do in the daily. In your role at the VA, it says, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges that veterans face today?
Coming into our office and getting the benefits they deserve. I always hear, I want to say 75% of my clientele, they'll say, oh, and they'll be older. So they just lost benefits for years. They'll be like, I didn't want to come in. Sally down the road told me about you guys. I don't think I deserve it. I don't want to take it away from another veteran. That is our biggest issue in our office, I want to say. And I always tell them, you're not taking anything away from anybody. Mm-hmm. You signed the dotted line. You had an honorable discharge. You deserve to be here. You deserve to get all the benefits that you're entitled to. Yeah. Health care, that's a big one. It's expensive now. Yeah. So veterans trying to afford health care, that's a big struggle that we're dealing with right now. But it's there for them. There is health care for them, but they just have to get past that. There was a stage for a while where everybody said, oh, the VA is terrible. The VA health care is terrible. It's not. They're there to take care of you. I've heard nothing but good things about the Findlay Clinic, the Toledo Clinic. That's the one that I use. Like, some things that have been said years ago just are not true today. And I just want to see veterans getting the care they deserve and not thinking about the things that used to be said about the healthcare system.
The way that I kind of, and I'm just going to touch on the last part that you said too, and this is, again, not to get like a political thing about it, like our show and the topics we talk about, but it seems that when the winds politically switch one way or the other, I think people forget about that the person that they're talking about is their neighbor. And whether you feel this way or that about our involvement in a war, let's just say that. Like, let's use, just to go back and not even make it current politics, like use Vietnam for an example. Like, if they're like, I disagree with this war and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, this person was basically grown up in a military family, or they went and did this military job, and they're essentially the pawns on this one too. Because you're dealing with clients that are around here in Findlay, Ohio, within our community, within our members,
Yep.
So to paint with such a broad brush, in directions with these people, it's like the same thing with police officers and stuff too. Like, you will never get me to say that it's all bad one way or all bad the other, because we absolutely know that's not the thing, So, like, I guess when it comes to them having their benefits, I very much agree with you on that. It's like, that is the price sometimes. Like, if you send people to war, you send them to do these jobs, and you have to fix them, I guess, not to, again, say anyone's broken or something, but, if someone goes to war and tears up just as simple as their knee or something, well, you got to pay for it. It's like, that was their job. And it's like, so for someone to feel like maybe they're not entitled to that, I'm like, that's a very good one. So, it sounds to me, it's like you said, just to answer that question shortly too, that people don't speak up. They don't maybe think that they're worth it, or, so
everyone's worth it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
This all kind of goes together so much too. And like building confidence and everything else too.
Yep.
Like that, not to make it such an easy t-shirt thing. Like, all you got to do is go work out and stuff too. But like, once you start helping yourself out, and once you start realizing, like, all right, if I raise my hand and say, hey, do you got any more of those,
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I do. You're like, oh, maybe I raise my hand more, So it's the same thing with lifting weights too. Like, nobody else is going to lift them for you. Once you start raising your hand or going to do the workout, like, once you start doing that a little bit more, like, it seems like it's it's a package deal, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Is.
Like you said, they don't think that they're worth it, or
You don't know what you don't know.
yeah,
basically.
exactly. So that's a great answer, by the way, too. And sometimes, like, me and Chris even joke, like, when we make like reels of certain things too, that is a good, clean little, like, go ask for something because you deserve it. Whether it's a veteran or something in any job too. Like, hey, I'm on team blue collar so much. Like, you won't hear me arguing with anything there. Like, hey, if the company said it, they ask for that money, get your money.
Yeah. Usually when I have like a new veteran coming in and I'm doing their benefits overview and they're in there for an hour, but we're doing XYZ, they usually leave. They're like, I didn't know I could get all of this. And I'm like, usually if they're a little bit older, like the Vietnam era, I'm like, and it's so unfortunate because
they could have been getting it
for years. And I always just say, I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad you came in now. Better late than never. So,
and I not to, again, speak out at just military things that I don't, I wasn't in the military, but I think this could go for anybody too. That goes beyond just like benefits and stuff too. I think I know a lot of people, they're those real, like, I'm not going to go to the dentist because I might have, and then I got to get something done,
Oh, that's so me.
Yeah. It's like, maybe somebody's avoiding the doctor trip, because that thing might happen, and then they don't know if they're going to be able to pay for it or something. And it sounds to me like you might be able to get paid for it if they're a veteran, hey, come ask Nicole, or the other one too. And not to get too far, I'm going to kind of bring this back into the mental health aspect too. But some people, whether the stigma of going to see and talk to somebody, like a counselor, because you're going to have to talk about uncomfortable things or anything else. Like, I've personally told people as a jiu-jitsu coach that stay after practice and have talked to me about things. They're like, well, I don't want to talk about this. And I'm like, dude, you don't want to talk about anything you don't want to talk about.
Right.
When you go talk to any counselor that's worth their salt, there's going to be, what do you want to talk about? Like, what do you got to say? Like, they meet you at your level.
Yep.
Like, anybody that's good, and especially someone who probably deals with veterans, PTSD, depression, things like that, they meet you at your level, and,
That's the biggest thing I was trying not to say PTSD right away with things that are office encounters with veterans and stuff, but it's always on our forefront. Okay. We have so many programs because some people don't like going to a therapist. So there can be other outlets for your mental health. We have the Guitars for Vets. Go learn and play a guitar for 10 lessons, and then you get a free guitar, and then you get to be a part of that whole group. They all get together in different days and times and just jam out. We're in the process right now to get this program up and running. It's called the VRT, Veterans Response Team. Sorry, we have a lot of acronyms in our office. Right. I had to try and remember. This is actually where if law enforcement is out with a veteran, we will have veterans that are trained properly. They will be on call to actually go out there to kind of have that communication, because veterans kind of like to speak with other veterans. It's just that camaraderie. Yeah. So we're trying to get that up and running right now. We have GI tunes where you get to be paired with a music specialist, and she makes you a playlist that's aimed towards PTSD. What calms you? So you have this playlist. So when you're kind of in that moment, stick your MP3 player in. There you go.
That's great. There's like so many good resources, and I'm like, hopefully, whether it's through a share of this podcast or anything else, I mean, I feel like these days, like, it's just becoming more in the open, which is an awesome thing too. It feels like the winds of change are shifting, where that stigma is kind of going away a little bit, like where, because now you get enough voices in it too. You get enough people that say like stop with this trope of like, you're weak if you got to go talk to, like, oh, you, like, the fact that they used to call like PTSD shell shock, like you'll get over it, you know, just get a couple of days off, you know, like, and then he goes and just like drowns in alcohol, and it's like, yeah, cool, we're over it now. It's like, and we both know this is a joke, you know. It's like treating mental health in a way that it's just like, suck it up, like, this stuff is so archaic, I believe, you know. That's the general called it suffering in silence, you know. Like, sometimes you need to go talk to someone. There's professionals out there, and it sounds like there's really good resources where the thing I was seeing in my head was somebody that maybe has that is going to be with somebody else that maybe is going through that, and somebody else that's going through that, and then it's like, well, I'm not so weird at all. No. Man, you're all right. You're Steve, you know, or whoever, you know. It's like, and then you start to figure out that it's like, it's okay. Like, it ain't nothing wrong with you per se. You know what I mean? I don't like to say it like that, because it's like, maybe there's something wrong, because that, I feel like it's negating someone's personal battle if it's like, nothing's wrong, because nobody wants to hear that, you know.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. Yes. Like, yeah, it does feel like something's wrong, but it's like, but it'll be okay. Like, we always say, like, well, the sun's going to come up tomorrow, though. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, you know, I'm mad right now, but
it'll be okay.
Sun will get up, you know. Like,
Derek actually told
me
the other day, he was like, nothing is as good as it seems, and nothing is as bad as it seems.
Right.
And I've never heard that before, but I'm like, that's right. Like, is it really that bad right now? Mm-hmm. And it's not. It could always be worse. So. And
it could always be better, too, if you think about it. Yeah, I like that quote, too. Yeah, absolutely. I guess this is this kind of goes with the next one. I guess my next prompt, and to start finishing up here, if you had any advice for somebody who feels too old or too broken to start lifting.
It's never too late, and it doesn't matter how much weight you're lifting. If you're lifting 1 pound or 500 pounds, it's all about experience and just having fun. There's no such thing as broken. There's always ways to work around somebody that's too broken or too old. There's always opportunities, and everyone's always welcome to be in this type of platform, powerlifting. So you're always going to be welcome there.
Yeah,
I love seeing old people on the platform, by the way. It's the best thing ever.
I follow an Australian guy. He's a trainer, and he trains his mom. And his mom's like 70 years old and deadlifted 120 kilos for like a set of 12. I was like, all right. Yeah. Send it to Amy and the girls and stuff, too.
I love watching the little people, too. Because I'm like, good. They're like already... Like, I wish that was me. I wish I started off when I was little, because they're going to go somewhere big. I know I follow a 15-year-old girl. She out-totals me already. And I'm like,
that's awesome, man. That's
crazy.
And that's some of the supportive system, especially in gyms with good cultures. academies like jiu-jitsu, powerlifting, whatever it may be, when you have a supportive culture in there, and I notice you guys have really supportive culture. I notice you guys share each other's reels, very supportive of like people going and doing competitions or just like in general, just trying to be better. I mean, inside of those communities, like this is exactly what we're talking about, you know? And I'll double back on Nicole's answer of people being too broken and stuff too. Like I've never been at the professional NFL level. I mean, I've worked with NFL guys. I've worked with a lot of college athletes, and I've also worked with some people that think like I can't do this. I'm like, dude, you're not too far off. I'm just telling you, like I've seen levels to things, and now there's a level if you're going to go compete at the Olympics or anything else. And some people need to learn that it's like maybe it's just getting in the gym, dude. My friend Todd Williams, he says you have to chase your gold medal. He's like, it's got to be your gold medal. So Nicole's gold medal is to 5 more kilograms on that squat, you know, and of whatever number it is, it doesn't matter, you know, it's going to be the same goal.
There's always going to be another one.
Exactly. It's, I think I guess it may be in powerlifting, it's like the old, when you got to 225 or when you got to 315, like, did your life change? Was it so much better once you got that? It's like, no, it was like, you know, that was your personal goal. And it means a lot to you, and it means a lot to, you know, for your journey. You know, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like, we kind of make a joke about it because it was a video game joke. They said it's about the friends you make along the way, but it's like, damn it kind of is about the, you know, the friends you make along the way, you know. But I think very, very much just being in any kind of these communities and being a part of some of these cultures is such a big thing. And like I said, you did a fantastic job. Like when I got on the Finley Barbell, when I do like the Instagram page for Finley Barbell, like that's instantly what I noticed right away. Like your guys' group like shares a lot of like the different videos, and you guys have no problems like promoting your friends. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's a very good thing, because you're not only trying to get eyes on, you know, your sport, but it's also just that support system that you feel like you have. That's probably the most important part about it, you know? So, anything to build on that one too? Like something, advice that you might offer to someone that's trying to get into, you know, a powerlifting community, something like that.
Just do it. Like if you have the thought, just do it. You don't have to have a coach. Just get underneath the barbell and try your best.
There's so many like resources online too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
free.
A lot of free stuff that you can get. I mean,
I'll help you for free. Like I'm a coach too, but in the gym, I did it today for Zach. Like he was struggling with his bench, and I knew what he needed to fix. So I'm just going to help you. Like I'm willing to help and make you better too. So,
so I guess like just to wrap up some of these, like some of the things we've talked about too, like, about not only your work with like powerlifting and the Veterans Office too. I guess let me just start with the powerlifting. What does powerlifting mean to you today? What does like of how it has affected your life? Just
I've met some of the best I have had some of the best friendships because of powerlifting. They always say like you have your high school friend or your friendships from school and stuff, but some of my best ones are from powerlifting actually. So it's my connections, and it's something that I will not take away from the sport, I guess. Like it's just a different type of connection, and
you get a lot of like people doing mutual things too. And I think that's like, I'll just answer it with the next one. It was about how veterans can get into these things too. It seems like number one, like veterans wise, go to your local veterans office is what it sounds like too. Like go talk to us. Yeah. Go talk to Nicole if you're in this area, if you're listening to a podcast outside of it. Sounds like General said the same thing. You just show up and start asking questions. We're going to give you answers, you know? So, and I'll just say it for the same thing of like powerlifting or jiu-jitsu is just like walk in the door. Like that is just the easiest thing sometimes because if you come into the door or if you schedule that lift, if you say I'm going to lift at this time or just get off your ass and go run, just like to do something there. Like plan it, schedule it, follow through. That's the best way. And at a jiu-jitsu academy, I mean, I'm telling you, you walk in the door and someone will be like, hey man, you want to roll? Okay, cool. Sign the waiver. Like, I mean, it's sometimes that easy. Like, or like Nicole said too, reach out to her if you see her in Finley Barbell or something, or I'll put up your social media stuff, by the way, too. If you have, a question about, like when I'm in the gym, if anybody has any questions about like the lift or anything else, I get it if you want a whole hour session or something,
Yeah.
But it's like that community that we try to have is like, cause I want the same thing as you want. Like I said, like empowering everyone to be their best self too. And sometimes exactly the same thing is what it sounds like. Like they just need to have their voice, something like that, whether it's somebody, again, starting just at the powerlifting community, or if it's a veteran, or walk in the door, ask a question, Nicole, anything else just to wrapping up here too? Some of your social medias, or some of the next events you guys got going on too. Like start with powerlifting. What do you got next on powerlifting?
Actually, I'm in a very long off season right now, so I'm not even competing until March, but I have some clients competing coming up soon in September, and then we have a few people on the team competing in November as well, down south in Ohio. So
and
I'm
then
taking a nice break for a little bit.
You guys will have the meet here in town too.
Yes,
at the university.
We are actually speaking with Taylor right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're also planning a wedding. I'm moving currently, but we're trying to hash out all the logistics to have another University of Findlay meet, and I'm so excited because the last one was phenomenal. I loved it. It was such a good experience, and just seeing the joy and everybody having fun. So I'm ready to see that again.
Awesome. And I know we'll continue to keep talking about this too, and because I'd like our club to have some involvement with the VA as well.
Yes.
Some type of like charity organization, because that's also what I'm trying to instill with these guys too. There is a little bit of altruistic things to these, like, hey, by you guys doing powerlifting, that also benefits other people too. So. What about the VA? What'd you say the next events that you got coming up for that was?
We got the fair next Wednesday. At the fair is Veterans Day, so veterans get in free that day.
Awesome.
We'll be out there all day, free dinner for veterans and their families. And like we already put up a little reel, but if you have your green Veterans We Want You shirt, wear it that day.
That's awesome. So that's next Wednesday?
Yep, that's next Wednesday.
We might be, at least one of the days we're going out. We have a couple of our families in our jiu-jitsu gym that do like cattle, and they show and everything out there too. Yeah. So I will stop by and see you. I'm not sure if it's Wednesday, but what days are you going to be out there?
I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturday and Monday.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
So, but Nicole, anything else before we kind of wrap up, or anything else you maybe wanted to say?
Nope.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me, though, Tyler.
Dude,
I appreciate it.
Hey, it's been great, too. We'll probably put up a lot of, like, the show links and stuff because, like, as me and Nicole were talking at the beginning in the pre-show about some of the things that we like to push on there, too. And, obviously, we've talked a whole bunch about some of the veteran things, but I always like to put some of the links in the bottom, too, just to the Veterans Office or Crisis Hotline, things like that,
hotline,
too. Yep.
Big one.
And just like some small things, like some of the resources. But Nicole, thank you very much. Not only learned a bunch of new stuff too, but I really enjoy not only learning more about your guys' powerlifting community too, and it's just another example of just continuing to like grow our communities in a positive way too. And anytime we can interconnect, and sometimes it's like, hey, you might have somebody that's wants, like in literally my jiu-jitsu academy, and they try it out and it's not for them or whatever else, and they want to try competitive, like, sure, go ahead. Like, I'm very much like me and my friend Gary Young share this too. We're like, if you want to show up, good. If you don't want to show up, good. Like, it's like, figure it out. Like, or go do something. Because I don't, like, as we said before, like, especially if they're, confidence issues or isolation, things like that. It's like, if they go join a community,
go find your niche.
Exactly. Go find it.
You'll find your people there too.
Yeah. So. Whatever it is, like, go, Go play cards. I don't know. Go play shuffleboard, something, D&D. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Go find a D&D group, whatever it is. So, Nicole, thank you very much first for coming on the show, and especially after hearing that you were would have been a couple years ago not doing that show too. So thank you even more for that too, because that means I thought it was great. I had a great time. So thank you very much.
I had a great time too.
Thank you guys for listening too, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.